Yo, what's up, people? Welcome back to the next video. Vlog number 36. I'm so happy. In order to celebrate vlog number 36, I'm going to count to 36. Hope you're ready. 1, 2, 3. Oh, shit, wait. What comes after 3 again? I wonder if I'll go to heaven. You know what I mean? I'm trying to go to heaven now. Well, as soon as possible. But I'm not trying to die, though. You know? My idea of heaven is just a beautiful world around me. Funny, goofy people. Acting silly. Playing the fool. And then just beautiful nature. And trees. And squirrels. And happy people laughing. That sounds like heaven to me. The reason I'm talking about heaven is right now I'm planning to move house. And the reason I'm planning to move house is because I'd say I'm just generally dissatisfied with the way that life is, and specifically like in relation to the area I am. And I used to live in London. I say I used to. I still do, but I used to too. Then, but it's a complicated mess. Then I got stationed here, and they told me like you got to do 5 years. So I said, all right. They didn't say that. No one said that. There's no they. Basically, I live here. Not going to say where, but I'll tell you later. I'll tell you when I moved. But it's not for me. It's not for me. And I want to go back to the place where the culture is just 10 out of 10. There's only one place to be. And if you know, you know. So started thinking about it. Why not actually just do it? Had a lot of those thoughts for, I don't know, 6 to 8 months. Probably. Oh, thanks for stopping making that noise. Probably less than that, actually, thinking about it now. But probably less than that. But yeah, so I'm going back to the place where everything is good. And the kings of culture and the queens of culture all coexist with great trepidation. Which is what I want. So, back there again I shall be, amongst the wicked and the great. But never shall I, ever again, feel like it's too late. For me to change my whole world around and find a whole new life. For now, whenever I want to go, I'll do so with no strife. I'll just pack up and hit the road, off to see the next place. And if it's no good, and if I don't like it, I'll be on my way with grace. So, that's it. New life, new name, new start, new car, new flat, new bed. New work. New. Everything new, everything brand new. Literally, every single item that will be in my possession will be fantastically N-E-W, new. Brand new. Spell it. B-R-A-N-D. Brand new. N-E-W. There you go. Do you know how to do a spell in order to create magic? You know how to spell in order to make magic? Do you know how to spell? S-P-E-L-L. Spell. How to spell is just to spell. That's it. Letters. It's hardly hard. So, that is the plan. Go back down south. Start again. Back on the Monopoly board. And I'm going to win. I'm going to win. No points for being interesting. No points for anything. No points. Know why there's no points? Because there's no point. Do you want a point? You want a point? Then point. You want to point this there? It's pointless there. I've not read my books for a few days. Maybe. Maybe. No, can't say that. Why not? Um. I've not read my books in a few days. And I don't care. It's okay. I'm all natural, baby. Not allowed to say baby. Why? No reason. Because idiots. I don't know what to say to the camera. You are the camera. Yeah, you are the camera. What? You are the camera. Who's that? You are the camera. Who? Me are the camera. We are the camera. It is the camera. Get back with the camera. What? No, with the camera. Titty bum black. Bitty bum black. Bitty blam blam blowing. Thinking is not better out. Fractionated. 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 Fractals. 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 Any questions, please leave them in the comment section and I'll be happy to answer them. Yes. It's TikTok. What do you think? Just Schoolio. Now. There you go. So far, my videos have all been great. I really think that perfection does exist. It's the creative process. It's not me. It's not anyone. It's everyone. It's anyone. That is the perfection. There's no perfect. Isn't that perfect? That's what I'm making, that state. That's perfect. Perfect. If you get it, you just get it. A work in progress is the finished piece. A work in progress is the finished result. The art that is seen as the best is just what was made, and there will always be bits and pieces the artist wanted to do and couldn't. You look at it and you go, that's great, or you don't think about it even more than that. Not much more than that. And it's in the creation process that you go, I'm questioning what this is. What's its merit? How do I rank this? When it comes out, it's perfect. And it always will be, because that's just the way it is. Life itself is perfect. The universe itself is perfection. How can that be? 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 That's the question people keep asking. All the time. All the time. Like the letters that people write to God in Bruce Almighty, that would be the number one. You know, how can it be? How can it be? How can this be perfect? Okay, well, it's not perfect, and that's perfect. You have to keep settling on these concepts which are present. They're not bound by time. Your analysis of the understanding of situations is bound by time. That's not what your perceptions are bound by. Your perceptions are not bound by anything. They relate to the concept of time only if there is karma. If there is no karma, there is no time. Karma and time. Related. Related. Interdependent. Without one, there is no other. I wonder if I'll ever be happy, like, with my life ever. If I'll always just be slightly discontented. Or not even slightly, just maybe like massively discontented. Always wanting something. Why do I always want something? I always want something to be different to the way it is. But then again, what's wrong with that at all, actually? You know what, actually, yeah, I'm going to totally change my mind on that. Yeah, because you need to want something. Otherwise, what do you do? What's the point in your existence? You have to have some kind of goal that you're like, that's what I'd really like to do. That's what I'd really like to achieve. You have no goal. What? Why would you? Why would you even bother to do anything? You gotta have a goal, right? So, yeah, that process you just saw take place within my mind, and I vocalized out loud. That's a reflection of my unprocessed. No. So, I now have basically something to look forward to. And then it's only getting better. From there, start again. Reset the chessboard. Play a new game. That's all I'm excited about. I like playing chess. And it's a game of you and your mind and your intelligence versus another person and their mind and their intelligence. And it's not physical, and there's nothing real about it apart from that you move the pieces. But the reason I'm saying all this is because life in all its facets is the game of chess. You have your pieces, everyone else has theirs. You move yours, they move theirs. And those pieces are words. Those pieces are products. Those pieces are property. Those are the pieces on the chessboard in the game of life. it has more dimensions than the game of chess, but it's not so dissimilar. I mean, another metaphor would be like Monopoly. Monopoly and real life have very much a direct connection. And it's like that with lots of different games, board games, board games, and also some video games. Video games, maybe even more so sometimes, but definitely board games. But board games and video games, they're both just like real life in so many different ways. There's lots and lots and lots of crossovers between the world of games and the world outside and the world inside and just the world. And that's why people say life is a game. And we're all playing the game, whether we know we're playing the game or not, and whether we like it or not, we are all still playing the game as individuals. If you realize you're playing the game, then you may well be better equipped to play the game. And if you deny that you are playing the game, that is just part of the game that you are playing and part of the way that the game is played. So it's interesting to see different facets of all of this that I'm thinking about when I'm talking about. And I think it's worth thinking about. But really, I like the game of Monopoly, and I like the game of chess, and I like to think about the parallels between those two games, Monopoly and chess, and the life that I lead, the world that I live in, the way that I live my life. In another sense, life is like gambling. It's like going to a casino. You have your chips, and if you want to win big, you have to start placing your bets. Now, life's a little bit like that. We're placing bets all the time in many different ways, and we don't know which ones we're going to lose and which ones we're going to win, but we're just taking part in the game. Just like gambling, just like a casino. And those chips that we have, those chips are the words we say. You speak your words, and that's you placing chips on the table, placing your bets on the table. That's what that is. And you pick situations and you make your choices in your life, and that is placing your bets. And these are the metaphors: casino games, board games, video games, placing your bets, playing a game of chess, playing Monopoly. But there's a lot of that play, 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 play. YouTube, video games, play.
Good morning. Just woke up from a dream. Had a dream I was in Amsterdam. walking around looking at the coffee shops. And then went to the hotel. Speaking of coffee, I'm gonna make some coffee to wake myself up. It's about 9:30 a.m. I've got a guy coming around at midday to buy some shelves. Yeah, he's going to buy the shelves at 12. So, I think that's all I've got planned today. If I think of anything else that I've got to do, I'll be sure to tell you all about it. I just had a dream as well where this woman was like talking about me to some other people across the room. So I went straight up to her and confronted her. And she started trying to be like, "Oh, I wasn't talking about you. Oh, you're paranoid and stuff." And I was going like, "I heard you loud and clear. You think I'm stupid?" And then, so I kept confronting her. And then eventually she went like, "Yeah, well, I was saying that you're whatever, this, that, and the other." So she finally just admitted that she was talking about me. I think my left hand is better now. I had some feeling of like numbness in my left, some of the fingers in my left hand. And I think it's okay now. It feels better. I really don't know what I'm going to do today. First thing I've got to do is try and make myself feel a bit more energetic. I'm drinking some coffee. And then it's nearly 10 o'clock. Someone come around at 12. So between now and then, I think I may as well stay in, just listen to music. And drink coffee. And once that guy's been and gone, then I could think about doing something else. I guess that'd probably include like walking into town, or I could get the bus somewhere else entirely. I'm really just so bored of this place. I just can't wait to go and move. But that's going to be a while away, so I've got to try to find something productive to do. Not just productive, but something that's going to make me feel good, I suppose, between now and then. I don't know what I'm going to do about having stuff left in my house. Like the couch. The furniture guy wouldn't take that as a donation. So what do I do now? If I chuck that in a skip, I've also got to chuck a bed, another bed, and then mattresses and stuff like that. It's going to take up a whole skip pretty quickly if I'm throwing a mattress in there, a sofa in there. What am I supposed to do with the sofa? Okay, so I've just rang removal services after the last clip and me saying I don't know what to do. I then sort of, hang on. What I then did is I then asked ChatGPT, what should I do? And then followed ChatGPT's advice. So now I've got someone coming around at 6:30 this evening. Who's gonna help me to clear out the place. But I think they're just gonna look at the stuff this evening and then give me a valuation. But I don't get paid until tomorrow anyway. So if they do it, I don't know if they'll do it tonight, but I will have to pay them tomorrow. I'm gonna look at my bank account. Oh, login details have been entered incorrectly. Okay. See how much money I've got in the bank right now. Right. So that's the plan, man. Okay, so good progress on the moving stuff. It's definitely good that someone's come around to look at that stuff. And I hope they can take it. I will, unfortunately, though, be basically wiping out most of my money for this month if I have to pay for them to take all the stuff. And then I've also got to pay for an identity check for the legal team. So I'm not going to have very much left after that. The things that I have got, which are saleable, Um, are basically another 2 shelves. And I think I'm going to actually clear them now and then start putting up adverts for them as well. Alright, so I just got rid of 3 bags of clothes that were upstairs. Next thing I've got to do is try and clear this shelf and then try and get it sold. So I think that means I'm going to have to take the stuff off it. I'm going to put it into the smaller room upstairs where it's out of the way. But what that means is that I've got to move the bed that's in there. So what's in here right now is this bed here. And there's just like some rubbish that I can clear up. So I'm gonna have to take this bed out, clear up the rubbish, and then I can put the stuff from the shelf in here, and then I can sell the shelf. Okay, just move the bed there. Now I've got to get rid of all this stuff off the floor. There's quite a lot of it. Right, rubbish has been cleared. Now it's gonna go in the bin. That's been done. The whole point of doing that was to clear the room upstairs and clear this shelf here to put everything from this shelf here upstairs. So that I can sell the shelf. So that's what I'm going to start doing now. I said that's what I'm going to do now, but I'm still really tired. It's 10:57 a.m. Just try and make another coffee and see if that helps. Hopefully. Nervous stimulants like caffeine do something. I think sometimes that maybe I could do with something slightly stronger. I don't know what. Amphetamines. They give amphetamines to people with ADHD, I think. Maybe I could do with some of them. I don't know. I'm not going to take the illegal option. Just the legal option. But I don't know. Might go back to the doctor, seek another prescription, you know. It seems anything they can do to help me. I think just to get me going a bit more, so that I'm not so lethargic, so that I'm like energetic and ready to work. Because I do feel like that a good amount of the time. Like I'm actually quite happy to get on with stuff. I'm quite motivated. But then when I feel like I have to get on with stuff, but I'm just really lackluster and lacking energy, that's when I could do with a little bit of chemical support. It's the only trick I really have right now in order to try and get myself going is to make the coffee extra strong. That's why I've got to do the face like that, because it doesn't taste great. It's really super bitter. But I think that the reason it gets you going is because it's super bitter. So all that super bitter stuff is just running through your insides. And that's why you feel all, anxious and excitable. But stimulated and talkative. And, willing to move. So I'm trying to be willing to move as I'm seeing how much work I actually have to get on with at the current moment. I do think this is all just a natural part of the cycle of the changing of the seasons as we go from winter into spring. And as they say, you start to get a spring in your step. And that's where you do a spring clean. There starts to be more light coming in. So we all start to feel generally slightly more energetic. And maybe tasks that we've been putting off throughout the winter, we now start to try and take care of. And we start working harder and harder through this part of the year as we speed up with the sun. As there is more light, and more light for us means more energy. Because we receive energy directly from the sun, and that affects our energy levels. And our energy levels affect our willingness to do what it is that we either have to do or want to do. So, yeah, I think in part I started to get the spring motivational feeling, and that's kind of what I'm doing right now, is like the spring clean, quote unquote. But I think the motivation took me to extreme levels. But this is actually what I wanted to do last year, but I didn't quite make it happen. I guess because there's so many distractions that come along on the way from, visualizing a goal and then accomplishing a goal. There's a lot that comes in between those two things. And obviously in all that time between them, there's a whole load of influences that can either feed into seeing through the fruition of your goal, or can distract you from the path that you're on and take you away. It's a bit like playing the game Fallout, the video game. I don't know if you guys have ever played Fallout, but you've got the main quest, which is like the storyline of the game, and then you've got loads and loads and loads of side quests. And quite a lot of the time when you're playing Fallout, you start the main quest, and then as you're doing the main quest, you'll come across something else which captures your attention in some way and makes you think, oh, I should go and do that. And they appear as side quests. So when you get distracted from the main quest and you go off to do the side quests, it means you put off the main quest for some time. And I think I've put off the main quest since last year, which last year it was absolutely 100% the main quest of the video game life that I'm living. And I accomplished all sorts of side quests, for sure. But now I'm going back to the quests that I was on, and I'm now taking care of business in that way. It's actually funny how much real life is actually just like Fallout, except there's no super mutants, there's no ghouls, we don't live in a nuclear wasteland, and there's no robots that are trying to kill you. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things that aren't like real life, but that's what I was talking about earlier in the video about the video games. The way that video games cross over with real life, the video gamification of real life. That's actually a good phrase. I'm going to use that for the title of today's video. The video gamification of real life. That's good. Okay, so someone's just come around to take the shelving unit, which was here. Now there is just a blank wall. This shelving unit here, I've just cleared it. And that'll be the next one to go. And then after that, it'll be this one. It's gonna go. And then got someone coming around to give me a price for all the stuff that I've got in my house. How much will it cost for them to take it away? So that's that. Not much else to say. I've not really got anything else to do. Apart from a guy who says he's coming round to collect the mattress for the bed base that he bought. He came around and bought a bed base, and then I lost his contact, and he was supposed to come around to get the mattress, but he didn't show up, and I couldn't get in touch. So, don't know what happened to him. But then he managed to find my other listing, and he sent me a message, and he wants to collect the mattress. So I said, yeah, you can come collect it. So he said he'll come today. I've asked him what time he's going to come, but he said he's not responded yet. And then the other lady who's looking at all the furniture, she's coming at 6:30. I'm not sure whether they're going to offer to take it tonight, but I don't actually have the money yet. I'll have the money tomorrow. Probably a good amount of the money tomorrow. Have a good amount of the money tomorrow. Oh yeah, and then the rest of it, I think the day after. So we'll see how much she says. Depending on the quote she gives me, I'll either have to say, okay, well, that'll have to wait until Monday. It might have to wait until Monday anyway. It's Thursday today. But if it's under a certain price, then I'll be able to say that they could come do it tomorrow or even tonight. But um, that might not be likely anyway. They might have other things to do. I don't know. So anyway, that's a conversation that we'll have to have later if they do show up. Which I'd expect that they would. It sounded like a fairly professional operation they had going on there, but you never quite know about how quickly circumstances can change. Obviously, it happens a lot, and it's understandable. So what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the day is all of that. I've got to just be around here at 6:30, and I've got to keep my eye on the phone to find out what time I have to be around for the mattress. So what else I'm actually going to do today? I could just stay sitting here on my computer, or I could go out for a walkabout. And I guess talk to the camera. I saw my friend yesterday, and I was with him pretty much all day yesterday. And I'll probably see him again tomorrow, because we made more plans for him. He wants to take more of my stuff, and I was going to give him some more food, like the long-lasting stuff, of which I've got a lot of. But that's all tomorrow, so I've got to think about what's going to make today better. And I'm not sure exactly what that would be. It's good that I've got the basics that I'm taking care of, which is like what I was saying before, the main quest of the video games, the video game's life. I'm doing well on the main quest, but I guess I'm now thinking about doing a few side quests while the main quest is progressing. I'm not quite sure which side quest to do. I don't really just want to sit here on the computer, because I do that all the time. And I don't know if I want to just keep doing that. I'm doing the side quest of make a daily YouTube video for as long as possible. Like, that's the other side quest I'm doing, which is also kind of a main quest. I don't know. Okay, yeah, but there might be a crossover point between side quest and main quest, and that might be where my ability to see through what I'm thinking will come from. I have to find the crossover quest. Yeah, that's a good new thought, that one. I guess like right now I'm just thinking of this house as like I'm clearing out this house. Full stop. That's it. But I'm gonna be here for I don't know how long I'm gonna be here for because I don't know how long it takes to sell the house and there's no actual guarantee that it will sell. And I mean, it probably will sell. I'd say it most definitely will sell. It's just a question of how long will it take. Will it be hours? Will it be days? Will it be weeks? Will it be months? I've got to be ready for any eventuality and be okay with that, accept that. Um, but however long it takes, it's always going to be the same daily struggle to figure out what it is that I'm going to do. And that's because I'm the one who decides what I'm going to do. No one else really decides what I'm going to do. So I need to keep coming up with ideas as to what it is that I want to do. But I find a lot of like, I'm not quite sure when I actually see my own response, when I actually look for my own response to my own question of like, what am I going to do? I find a lot of thinking that I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I am sure, like, in a way, what I'm going to do. I guess I have just different reluctancies to do it. But it seems like the more that I keep talking about that to the camera, the more that sort of becomes resolved mentally, and I take the pressure off thinking I have to do something right now because I don't. Or I mean, this can be what I'm doing right now, which is talking to my camera for the sake of making a daily video. And that's just about an adequate thing to do. And I guess it's this repetitive sort of ghoulish cycle that's related to the idea of work, and that's created this like um, this bad energy sort of cycle that I keep getting into. Oh, someone's just giving me a letter. Um, and so I need to stop feeding into that with the ideas that when that thought appears saying, I need to do something right now, I need to say, yeah, that's incorrect. Sorry. I don't need to do anything right now. In fact, I'm already doing something right now. If you think that I'm not doing something, your senses are failing you. When people are like, what are you doing right now? You could say, well, I'm sitting here. And then they go like, oh, yeah, no, I asked what you're doing. And it's like, yeah, I told you what I'm doing. I'm sitting here. That's what I'm doing. And obviously, there's a time and a place when that's appropriate and fair and justified and makes perfect sense. If that's not obvious, then you just don't understand anything. But it's because of this like control freak that the nature of the control freak is to want to tell other people what to do at every moment and to think that they know better for what that person should do than that person knows themselves as to what they should do. Here's my question. Should anyone ever at all have any opinion on what other people should do or not? Or should they just respect and allow that person to be autonomous in their own decision-making process? I think I would fall on the side of the latter. I have actually thought of one thing I could just go and do. And that's I could go to Starbucks. Yeah, I could go to Starbucks. This guy's not responding right now, so for the next 6 hours, I've got a free slate. A free slate? I don't even know if that's the real phrase. Oh, I've got a blank slate. Right, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, for the next 6 hours, I've got a blank slate. If you don't know what that means I'm free and available and I've got nothing to do. Obviously, my time is very valuable. It's not though, is it? These are the stupid things that people say who think that they're a high-flying bird of some kind when they're just not. But where am I going with these thoughts? Right. Okay, so today's Thursday. Yeah, that's right. Tomorrow's Friday. And then Saturday. Oh, yeah. Right, okay, I'm just trying to get my head together for thinking what it is that I'm actually doing for the next few days. So, yeah, I just have to think now about what I'm going to be doing sort of right now. But right now, that's just talking to this camera. Not a lot, much more than that. And I don't really feel like moving out of this position, that exactly this exact position that I'm in right now. For many reasons. But for some reason, I still feel and slash or think there's some imperative to do so. And I don't really know why that is the case. And I don't necessarily agree that there is any imperative. But it seems that I keep having this recurring, repetitive thought that keeps trying to inform me that for some reason there is something that I have to do, and that I have to come up with an idea of what that is that I have to do, and none of that is true. Obviously, I'm aware that none of that is true. They're just ideas. It's not that it's true, nor is it false. It's just an idea that appears to me and that I have to react to within my own thinking. So I don't know. At some point, I'm going to have to end the shot and then think of what I'm going to do.
I don't know if I need to think of what I'm going to do. I don't know if I need to think at all. Maybe I don't need to think. I'd say I probably definitely don't need to think, and it's probably thinking that is the cause of all of this talk. But that's not to say that this kind of talk shouldn't be taking place, because it is, and if it is taking place, then surely it has its purpose, it has its value. It's me thinking out loud. That's the whole point. That's why psychology exists. This is how people interact. This is how people understand themselves. I used to have this person that was always telling me, like, if I would talk in this way, that, oh, you're thinking too much and you shouldn't think, as if it's possible to not think. Like, of course, you have to go through the entire process of thinking and filtering through your thoughts and trying to come to an understanding of them and balance them and make sense out of them. And the only way to do that is by thinking the thoughts out loud, by saying them, by speaking them. And then you figure out what it is you think, and then you can try and figure out why it is you think that, and if you need to think that. But it's not that you have a decision as to whether you should or shouldn't think that, because as far as I know, no one person has any control over the thoughts that appear to them. It's not a decision to think. It's not a decision to have a thought, is it? So why would you possibly try and vilify someone for something that they do not decide to do? You don't decide to be hungry. You don't decide to be sexually aroused. You don't decide to be tired. You don't decide to have thoughts. So the kinds of people that try to make out that there is something, that these are all things that people do, these are all things that people choose, are just completely incorrect. Why? How can you possibly try to say that you decide to have a thought? A thought is something that occurs to you. It's not something that you create or that you make happen. So there's no issue with thinking thoughts. There's no issue with talking through them. In fact, it's anything but an issue. It's absolutely vital. And the only reason I have to say all this is because I still have the imprint of the image of this person in my head who used to just abusively and aggressively and in a bullyish manner constantly try and force me to adopt her way of thinking. And her way of thinking was to think that thinking is not good. Try and explain how that makes sense. I think that you should stop thinking. It's like, okay, yeah. Think about that, hypocrite. Anyway, I'm gonna be just probably around and about the local area, not doing much at all, just happily making steady progress on the move. I can come out with a whole bunch of things that I'd like to do, like play chess. I'd really like to be doing that. I'd like to be doing that every single day if possible. And hopefully that'll be like the next situation that I'll actually come into once I've done the move and put myself on the doorstep of the action. Being in the centre of where all the activity takes place, and there is absolutely 100% much more likely to be people there who would be willing to play chess with me. And I'd be absolutely perfectly content there to just sit in this flat on, you know, Monday to Friday and drink tea and just play chess against an opponent. That to me sounds like the most exciting thing I could possibly think of doing. And you can say what you want about that, but chess is just such a brilliant game. I just love to play chess. It makes me so happy. So why would I want to stop doing something that makes me so happy? I can't really think of anything else that I actually prefer to do more than that. I mean, so if I'm going to have to think about something, and the reason I have to think about something is because I have to talk about something, going back to that fucking idiot who keeps trying to tell me that I have to stop thinking, which I don't. If there's nothing that I'd rather do more, if there's nothing that I'd rather do more than play chess, then why would I want to even think about doing anything else? What would the reason or purpose in that be? Unless it was to progress my ability to play chess, unless it was to progress my... Well, I just said that, so I don't need to repeat it. So that's my plan moving forward. What's yours? Leave a comment down below. I'm tempted to go back to bed. I really don't want to do that, but... Wait, what? How does that make sense? I'm tempted to go back to bed, but I really don't want to do that. How does that make sense? If I'm tempted to go back to bed, then I do want to do that, don't I? I should just make more coffee, but I gotta figure out what it is I'm gonna do whilst I'm awake. Otherwise, I'm just like, why am I even awake? I think that's what the thinking is. It's like, if there's no reason to be awake, then I may as well just be asleep. But it's not like being asleep is actually better than being awake. It's not really, as far as I know. Oh, you know what book is a great book, and I'd like to read it again? Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramhansa Yogananda. Oh, that would actually be a great book to read on the vlog. What I'm going to have to do is go to Watkins and get a bunch of good books from there and then read those. I could read some of my Jimi Hendrix book now, but I started to debate whether I should even put the reading parts of me in the video, because when I come to the edit, I just skip over it. So I don't know whether people like it enough to want me to keep it in, but I think because right now no one's even watching the videos, it's like I should do more of whatever I want to do. So if I'm not really that interested in reading the Jimi Hendrix book, then I guess I just won't. I'm sort of somewhat interested in it a little bit, but I'm also thinking about what I want to do that's not that, but I don't even know what that is. that I want to do that's not that. So and then I end up just thinking, well, I have to just accept that I'm going to have to do something. So I have to choose to do something that I don't even really want to do, because I have to do something and I can't just do whatever it is that I'm already doing, which I obviously can just do whatever it is that I'm already doing, which is what I am doing, which is just talking to this camera. Can I just do that? And I don't even have to think about what it is that I should be doing or anything like that at all, because there's no should or could that is necessary at all when I'm already actually doing the thing that I'm actually doing. Why do I need to even possibly think about what I'm going to do next? What's the point in having a next thing that I think about having to do when I'm already doing the thing that I want to do? I would have to be thinking that I don't want to do this thing that I'm doing and that I'd rather be doing something else. But if I was thinking that I don't want to be doing this thing that I'm doing and I'd rather be doing something else, then I'd just go ahead and do that thing that I want to do. And I wouldn't have to think about that or talk about that. I would just have to do it. So there's a lot of this thinking that you don't need, and it makes sense to me now. But I just had a lot of resistance to the thought process of thinking like, you should stop thinking, which is a thought process. So you have to, well, it's not that you have to stop thinking, that's incorrect. It's that you have to think something differently. You have to think in a different way. You don't have to stop thinking, do you? Because you can't stop thinking. There's no way to stop thinking. It's impossible to stop thinking. You just have to think differently. If you don't like what it is that you are thinking, the only way to change that is to think differently. And you can't just do that. You have to work through a process of getting to a place where you think differently by thinking the thoughts you already have and talking about them. That's the only way. This is all of everything that this idiot who used to try and tell me what to do. This is all of what she missed. And this is all of what she had no idea about. And that's why she was so stupid in the end. And that's why she's no longer around. Sad facts. I could go out to buy some more stuff, but then I'm just collecting more stuff that I don't need and that I'd probably sell, because I have to get rid of everything. I don't have to get rid of everything, but I want to get rid of everything. Why do I want to get rid of everything? Because I want to move to a position that I'd rather be in and go live somewhere that I'd like to live. So that's why I want to do that, and that's why I'm doing that. But that means I'm left in this limbo phase of thinking, I don't know what to do. So I'm just going back and forth with myself, like, should I overindulge in just food and beverages? And I'm thinking, no, I don't really want to do that now. But there's a part of me that still kind of does want to do that. This is what I'm talking about, the limbo thing. And then, what's next? What's next? What's next? That's the thought that keeps just going round and round. And I'm trying to stop that, but it's not really working because it just keeps going. So there's all this duality that's just playing out constantly. And I know exactly what to do. And at the same time, I just don't. And there's another duality. So it's just witnessing all these dualities is the process of, I guess, process of meditation and like actually self-awareness, consciousness, to recognize yourself and to see yourself as the witness means to be constantly having to perceive all that goes on with the complexity of this biological machine computer mechanism that we are bestowed with within our senses. I mean, there is no mechanism, there is no machine, there is no computer. We are just simple biology in one way, but animated by my estimations of thinking by the living spirit itself, as described through the Christianity um, and the Hindus and all the cultures who recognize that there is a spirit. Now, without the recognition of the spirit, that means the inability to see who you truly are yourself, because you're not all of that. That is not that spirit. That is the totality of who you are, and it seems like you're all these other things, like this body that you have, but you're just not. It's just not the case. So that has to be a realization that occurs at some point in life, is to think, I'm more than just this. I am so much more than just this. And there's no way really around that um, once you've thought through the thinking that needs to be thought, and once the realizations have clicked in. And you may need to go through the imagery of the understandings of how to make sense out of that. Because people, from my experience, just seem to say, like, what you're saying doesn't make any logical sense, but then that's just having missed the logic behind it. It's as if people think that um, it's only science who has that can have facts, and that's just obviously not true. I mean, science doesn't even have facts. Science has theories, and so science is its own religion in the same way that religious thinking is just seen as it's just an idea. Um, it's exactly the same in science, but people try in science to capitalize on the idea that there is a scientific fact, as if there could be a fact, as if a fact cannot be disproved or changed. I mean, it's a so-called fact. So-called facts get updated on a constant basis with new so-called facts. Do you know what that says about these so-called facts? They're not facts. They're not absolutes. There are no absolutes. It's an absolute truth to say that there are no absolutes. So try and deal with that hyperbolic criticism. Um, try and deal with that juxtaposition of metaphorical ideals. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? You're just going to get lost in the worlds of the words worlds. You're not going to go anywhere. You're just going to go round and round with thinking until finally something clicks, and then it all starts making sense, because it has to make sense, because there does reach a point where it's life or death on your concepts, and you have to start adopting different ways of thinking now, based on the fact that there's no going back, and there's no going in that direction that you were going in before. It all looks so wrong. It all feels so evil. You have to shed your skin in order to grow a new one, and that's the only way that you're gonna be beautiful again and live beautifully again. That's the only way you're gonna get out of hell and go to heaven. I mean, I'm not talking about going anywhere else. I'm talking about the life you live right now, and the way that you have your relative hells and your relative heavens, and there's a way out of one and a way into the other, and you don't know which direction you want that to go in. It's not clear that you prefer to go from one side to the other, um, because of the way that that there's a limitlessness to the lack of a line or a measurement in the distinction between the separations that pull those two places apart and give them names, which means they end up as basically shapeless identities that constantly fluctuate and are impossible to keep track of. And so you just flip flop between um, thinking that you don't understand and then thinking that everything is in its right place, just like Radiohead. I found a really good combination yesterday of foods, and it's pasta. Cook up the pasta, basically. So I cooked up pasta. Why do I have to say everything like 2 or 3 times? I don't even understand myself why I do that. I seem to just keep doing that. Yeah, so cook up some pasta, then chuck a couple of stock cubes in there in the water. Vegetable stock cubes is what I used. So you got like a vegetable stock cube flavored pasta. That's okay within itself. Then what I did is I left the water in, but I tried to like reduce it so it was minimal, but didn't want to lose the flavour of the stock cube, so I left the water in. Then added like some tomato soup and some corned beef. So just chuck the tomato soup in, chuck the corned beef in, and then just like mash up the corned beef with a spoon so it's all chopped into pieces, and then stir it all together. And it's just like a really nice pasta dish. Not too far away from, I guess, like a spaghetti bolognese type thing, but it's literally like Heinz tomato soup and corned beef. Anyway, I did that yesterday, and I think for me, good combination. Might try that one again. Got a big pan full of it, and I've just been working my way through that food, bowl by bowl. So I am trying to lose weight, but I'm not trying to stop eating. I'm just exercising more, which seems to be working. I'm not in the place that I'd like to be, but also like I'm just more and more just accepting the way I look in the present. But it's not that I want to look that way actually and factually, and ultimately it's like I do want to shift some of the weight, and it's not just the way it looks, it's also like the way it feels. But it requires like quite a lot of inertia, and what's the word? Well, I guess I'll just stick with inertia. It requires a lot of inertia to be created to actually get you exercising, to get you moving quickly enough within all of your like biological systems and everything that's going on in your body and the way that everything operates. Like you have to create the inner conditions for the outer conditions to come. You can't just be like, okay, well, I'll just go to the gym. It's like, no, no, no. That's why people always say you've got to develop the mindset almost more than you do have to actually do the physical work. Like developing the mindset is probably a larger percentage than it is actually doing it. Because once you've developed the mindset, doing it is like incredibly straightforward. It's the most simple thing ever. You don't have to think about how to do something. What you don't need to think about what to do, but you have to think about how to think in order to get to where you want to be. You have to think about how to think in order to be able to do what it is you want to do. So it's way, 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 way more important to think than it is to do anything. To do anything is incredibly straightforward. It takes no effort to do anything. To think takes a whole lot of effort. A good question that I've just considered is, how much is my time worth? Well, first of all, I have to say, my time is not mine. So there is no my time. So how can something that does not exist be worth anything? Question answered. I'm a hypocrite, obviously. Who isn't? The last few years, I'd say the last 3 to 5 years, I have started to really feel like and think that people do actually like me. And it was very surprising for me to realise that. But it also means I've started to like myself a lot more. Chicken, chicken meatballs. Chicken, chicken meatballs. Chicken, 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 chicken meatballs. Baked beans, baked beans. Chicken, chicken meatballs, baked beans. Cafe cappuccino, cafe cappuccino, kappa 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 cappuccino, chino. Cafe, cafe, cafe. Cafe cappuccino, kippy cappuccino, cafe cappuccino, chino, chicken, chicken meatballs. Chicken, 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 chicken meatballs, baked beans, chicken, chicken meatballs. Chicken, 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 chicken meatballs, baked beans, cafe cappuccino. Chino, cafe cappuccino, chino, cafe cappuccino. Chino, cafe cappuccino, chicken, 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 chicken meatballs. Thank you. Now, let's just try again. Obviously, after such a great performance, it is always that the performer will take a bow. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your applause. If you want to hear more from my album, it's coming out. It's called A Whole World of Different Kinds of Foods. That's what it's called. And it's all songs about food, about chicken meatballs, about, potatoes, even fried langoustines. There's many different songs I have, just like the one I just performed for you. And I hope you enjoyed the record. It took a fantastic, tremendous amount of work, and the whole team really put in a really good shift in making this musical masterpiece actually come to life. So thanks to everybody. Thanks to Greg Damianson. Thanks to Stephen Barnabridge, and thanks to Lucy Montgomery. We've the whole team over there at Warner Brothers, and we're very excited to be releasing the new record. So it's going to be available in all supermarkets very soon. Tesco, Asda, and also Poundland. Okay. Well, I'll see you later, guys. Thank you so much. I can stop applauding you now. Yeah. So, I want to tell you all about this guy that I know. He's probably one of the stupidest people I've ever met. Like, he's so fucking dumb. Like, the way he talks, the way he acts. Like, just like on a daily basis, everyone goes, oh my god, it's that fucking idiot. Everywhere he goes, people just like, wow, this guy's a fucking idiot. It's unbelievable to actually see. And the crazy thing about it is that he's so delusional that he actually thinks that he has like some sort of control or authority in life. He's properly chasing power. He wants to feel important, but he's just a loser. And it's properly crazy when you actually see someone how delusional a person can be, and just the fact that they're just seeking the wrong. Well, no, okay, they're not. I wouldn't say it's so wrong. Okay, rephrase that. they're seeking a path in life that will not in any way benefit them whatsoever, but the delusion has convinced them to think that like that they want to have some kind of power over other people. You don't want to have any kind of power over other people. Even if you desired that, if you desire that, even if you were to get it, you would realize that it's something you don't want. So think about that, idiot. If you're happy and satisfied within yourself, then you do not usually look towards anyone else to be any kind of way to try to make you feel anything at all. And that desperate sort of clinging to want other people to act or react the way that you think they should, that is the absolute source of the unhappiness associated with that. Like, you do that because you have the unhappiness, and you think, well, if I get what I want, then I'll be happy. But that's just not the case. If you stop wanting that, then you'll be happy. It's not. It's a chicken and the egg, and you're not clear on which one is creating which one. You think that it's this that creates that, but you don't know that it's not that creates this, because you have no idea which one happened first, because your memory doesn't allow you to do that. So you got to look at both things that you're currently calling cause and effect, and you've got to be willing to consider that cause and effect may be the other way around, non-existent altogether, or both and slash or neither of those explanations. And then all of that gets into a category which just comes under less, more, and then you break that down, and what do you have left? Nothing that you can make any sense out of, but you have to desperately sort of cling onto the feeling that you have to try to make sense out of what just happened. You don't. You don't have to desperately cling onto the idea that you have to make sense of what just happened. You don't have to make sense, and you don't have to make sense out of what just happened. The breakdown goes so much further than you would think it does. And if you're not able to know what is happening, then you've got to take all these pieces that seem now fractionated and to all be specifically related to different parts of your own thought process that you didn't think could be related to. So now you have to become aware of the fact that that's what's separating you from the experience. You know what you call that which separates you from the experience? Ego, a sense of personal identity that is unique and individual to yourself. Something that you have, but not something that you are. If you're aware that it's something that you have, and it's not something that you are, then you can't be insulted by being told or recognizing or realizing what is and what isn't ego. Because although it's connected to you in the way that you think in relation to it, it is not you. You are the awareness that can see that you are not that. If you can see it, then you cannot be it. Unless you can see the self that you are that sees. If you see the one that sees, then you can see it and you can be it. if you can see what you're not, then you cannot be it. If you see what you're not, then you could be it, but you'd have to reposition your sense of self in relation to that which you're aware of. Awareness will fundamentally always be what you return to. Consciousness, or the act of observation and the ability to use your senses through the instrument or the tool of conscious awareness, that will always be where you return to, only to see what goes on in the play of all the forms, the way in which the pieces of the puzzle are put together. By you, by who, by how. Just this, and this, it's thinking that there's like the words that are correct, that is incorrect, and it's thinking that you get to say what the other person says. That will just be constantly disproven, time and 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 time again. Why? Because you are not them. And you never will be. You may take a piece of them with you, and that may make you more like them, but you will never be them until you place yourself into the position of seeing yourself as everything. But that would be the moment that this personal individual identity disappears. And that's not possible. You can transition in and out of so-called states of awareness, but you can never leave the form that is inherited to the consciousness. Why not? Because it's bound by karma. That means it has experiences that it needs to play out in order to resolve itself in relation to what is perceived as more infinite. Not possible. There's no such thing as more infinite, is there? This is more infinite than that. Yeah, it's a nice thought to think. And you could make it make sense if you wanted to. But it's not an absolutism. But, realistically, there are no absolutisms. That itself being an absolutism makes it the hypocrite's choice for oxymorons. Today's video is going to be great, I'm sure. But what's going to be even better is tomorrow's video. No, it's not. You can't get better than today's video. Today's video is great. Don't judge me. Oh, sorry. Did you see that? Oh, I had to stop my real self. I'm just so confident in everything I do. I would never cry about a video. Right. Okay, just cut. I need a bath. I'm not gonna lie. I smell like shit. Not literally smell like shit, but figuratively, metaphorically. Well, I just need a wash. It'll be nice to freshen up a little bit, and then I'll be fresh as a daisy. Okay. Whoever you are, Daisy, I bet you're fresh. Okay, well, that sounded kind of weird. Okay. All right, let's try not to sound weird. It's not that easy to not sound weird. I'll explain why. The reason it's not that easy to sound weird, the reason it's not that easy to not sound weird, is because everyone's weird. That's why. That's why it's not that easy to not sound weird. Because everyone's weird. Right? And if everyone's weird, then no one's weird. I'll repeat that, but I'll add something in. If everyone's weird, then no one is weird. Do you know why, if everyone's weird, that no one's weird? The reason is because to be weird means to be different from some kind of standard, some kind of accepted norm. If everybody is different from the so-called standard, from the so-called accepted norm, which they are, then everyone is weird. And if everybody's weird, then no one is weird. Do you know why no one is weird? Because if you're different from the accepted norm, and everybody is, then everybody's the same, and that is the accepted norm. The accepted norm is that everyone's weird. How can you be weird compared to weird? Can you be weirder than weird? Like, what is weirder than weird? Are there levels of weird? Maybe there is. But as far as I know, there's not a single person that I've ever met in my entire life that doesn't fit into that category. They might think that they don't fit into that category being weird. They might think they don't fit into that category. Of course, they absolutely 100% do. It's just about telling them how they fit into that category. If somebody says, I'm not weird, well, it's like, okay, well, I can explain to you 10, 15 ways that you are. But by my logic, if you are, then you're not. And the reason that you're not, if you are, is because if everybody is, then that's normal. So it's normal to be weird. And to take it even further, what's really weird is to be normal. Those are the weirdest people of all. Those are the ones that get the looks. Of like, oh gosh. Oh dear. You are very normal. Oh dear. But you're not normal anyway. What is normal? What is weird? It's just determined and distinguished by measures that are taken into consideration through the analysis of psychological evaluation. And then you say, well, here's what's average and here's what isn't, right? Well, do you know why you can't trust any of that information at all? Because it's gathered by asking people questions. Like, do you ever do anything unusual, and they say no. Um, People can lie, or people can tell the truth. They will do both of these knowingly within a set of questions that asks them about their personality traits. They'll lie on certain questions, they'll tell the truth on other ones, and dependent upon the mood they're in, they'll decide that either they're trying to affirm something that's untrue because they want it to be true, or they're trying to misrepresent themselves to make themselves look better than what they are, or they just don't care at all. Maybe they're just trying to go through the motions and get through things as quickly as possible, so they don't really think it through, they just give an answer. And then what takes it to the next level is that there's no real yes or no answers to any of the questions that are proposed in these psychological experiments. The ones that are presented as yes or no questions. Would you consider yourself to be extroverted? Yes or no? That's not a yes or no question, is it? Who's the I in this? When are you asking me? Who's like based on? Is it based on certain behaviors at certain times? Because for most, for a lot of people, there's the times when I feel though I would associate with the label of introvert, and there's times where I feel as though I'd associate with the label of extrovert. Neither of those are me. So how do you answer these questions? All the data that's produced by psychoanalysis is skewed, and therefore it's completely unreliable, and you can't use any of it. And nor should you want to, really. There's really no reason nor purpose for it at all. The only reason for its existence is for those who are determined on a worldview and trying to win a battle of their personal will. They create this so-called scientific data in order to add credence to the convincing of people as to their correctness. It's a 100% power trip, and like that reason why that is because people with money fund scientific experiments that they believe the research into will in some way benefit them personally. And there's no way to remove personal investment. There's no way to remove personal investment from investment, because there's no motivation to invest unless there's personal motivation. There you go. So I've got someone coming over here in a few minutes. She said she's on the way, and she is going to be, with a little luck, taking a good amount of my stuff. I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, so just had people come to look at everything that is going to be going, and looks like they'll be able to take it all. That's good. Just need to get a quote from them as to what that's going to cost, but they're going to send that later on, about 8 o'clock. Hopefully it's not too much, but it's good that they can do it, and I'm looking forward to getting all the stuff out. So, good news. So, final thing for the day has just been done. The guy who was coming to take the mattress has taken it, and he had a smile on his face, which was good. And he gave me a tenner. Now I'm thinking about going out to the shop and buying some beers and then coming back. Potentially a good idea. I don't really want to do it though. I don't really need beers. I don't really want beers. It's kind of just like a habit to think that beers would be good. What was that flashing light? I think that was the kitchen bulb. So, yeah, I've made some really, really, really good progress on the house. And the timing of everything seems to actually be going really, really well. I don't know why I thought it wouldn't. I mean, I guess part of me thought it would, and a part of me was doubting that. Isn't that always the way? But yeah, I don't know. I think the beers might go down well. I'm just thinking about the other night when I had a few drinks and then I just sat at my desk listening to music while I was a bit merry, and just remembering how much I enjoyed that. I really did enjoy that. It's going to be so crazy how seeing how things go now, and all the people around here are going to be just amazed exactly what's going to happen. They're not going to understand it whatsoever because they just don't get how the change of hats operates. Like they may have heard of the Mad Hatter, but the Mad Hatter is not quite what they think he is, which is obviously his entire reason to exist. It's all self-explanatory. So it's going to be a nutty time. Not too nutty. Yeah, that's all I've got to think about now for the evening. I don't want the beers actually. I don't need the beers. Stupid idea. Don't want to turn into an absolute fucking moron. That's what happens when you drink, doesn't it? You turn into an absolute fucking retarded, fucking dumb idiot. And obviously, sometimes that's what you want to do. Sometimes that just calms you down a little bit. Sometimes it gets you amped up. Sometimes, but it's not that it's that. It's that it's all that comes along with that, plus that. And those tangled concepts are so intertwined that it's not so clear to see what is this and what is that. You can see it if you go out. Let's say you go out on a night out and you just don't drink alcohol, you stay completely sober, and then you report your experience. That's how you can separate all that comes along with alcohol and the and the alcohol itself. Like it's for a lot of people, it's the associations of the drinking that is the good part. For other people, they just want the drink, but they've separated those two concepts out. Obviously, like drinking alcohol is just like a scientific experiment on your body. It's not good, nor is it bad. To say it's good or bad, it's just completely underestimates the experience 100%. It's like the same with everything. It's like saying breathing air is either good or bad. No, it's not. It depends how much air you're breathing. It depends what's in the air. It depends the quality of the air. So, generally, good advice is try to stop categorizing everything into binaries. It's not applicable to everything all the time, and it often is the case that we are left in positions where we have to categorize things into binaries. But even having just said that, there is another part of me that says that's not true, and that it's never ever necessary. But it might make you into the kind of person that you don't really want to be. It might stop you from fitting in, but then it also might do quite the opposite. It might make you the person you want to be, and it might make you fit in. So you see how just when you think it's this, it turns out to be that. Just when you think it's that, it turns out to be this. Like that's the mind matrix. That's the instant insanity of the Virgo complex.